wonderful Jersey Mike sandwiches. I'm sorry to the individuals that are on Zoom. We have sandwiches here. No delivery whatsoever, but if you want to come, we still have sandwiches here at the office. So thanks again, Neil. You're awesome for providing us with lunch. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So who wants to volunteer and provide us with our mission and our belief system? No one wants to. Yeah! All right, Cheyenne. All right, you got to stand up loud and proud.
Is that Cheyenne, Wyoming from Detroit?
That's me.
Okay, right. All
Our
right.
mission
There we go.
is to provide agents with a place where they will be empowered, trained, and motivated to experience growth, wealth, and a legacy that allows them to live their best life possible.
Yeah.
Our vision, right, to achieve amazing professionals and personal development through the KW South Bay to remain the agency of choice. And our beliefs, right? Ed, what is our beliefs?
When the values of, by the way, I love Gary Nick says this all the time. When the values of your company align with your own beliefs, you know you found your professional home, and referring to the KW Y4C2 teams.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's continue. All right, we want to welcome new additions to the family. Let's start off with Polly. Polly, thank you. As well is now part of our KW South Bay office. I'm not sure if she's here. She might be on Zoom. So if you do happen to see, make sure to give them a high five. So Polly, thank you for aligning yourself. We're so grateful to be in business with you. All right. Elbow. Bob is doing an elbow for you.
There you go. All right.
All right.
Thank
Let's
you.
continue. Hey, there's Lauren. How are you?
Oh, wait, you forgot to mention Lindsay Mascola. She's on the list too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did say Lindsay.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. I did. So Lindsay as well. So welcome to the KW family. Our motivational minute, the difference between average and good and great and phenomenal, it's all about what? The mindset, right? The mindset. The mind can do so many things. Our bodies may say no, right? Or our minds can say no as well. But it's ultimately our choice and our decisions to get up, dress up, and show up, right? You know, this industry can be sometimes very unique, right? You know, real estate is challenging. It has its ups and downs. And as Bob always stressed, you know, you got to just show up and start making calls. So I love this phrase, and this is just a contribute, in my opinion, of what we do on a regular basis to help our clients, our buyers, or sellers. Awesome. I love this. All right, let's go ahead and continue. All right, let's congratulate Bryce Kawada.
All right.
Now enjoying 100% of his commissions, right? That's the awesome part of what we have here at Keller Williams, is that we have a cap. And once you reach that cap, that's it. The rest of your commissions to your anniversary date is 100%. Okay, so kudos to Bryce. Such a phenomenal guy. He always makes me laugh. Every time I see him or he calls me, he cracks a joke. You know, if you know Bryce, he's a character and he's a straight shooter as well. Sometimes there's no filters with Bryce, and I know he might be on that call, but I love this guy. So congratulations, Bryce, on capping with our KW office. So kudos to you. Let's continue. All right, very important. There's been some changes with our Realtors.com platform, okay, which is Upcity. So this Friday, January 28th, from 1 to 2:30, formerly was Upcity. So they're going to be changing. There's a lot of new dynamics to this. So how to increase leads and no cost to you, utilizing the Ready Connect concierge. Okay, so this is something new to me as well. I've been preaching and leveraging our UpCity account, which is in connection and in relationship with Realtors.com. This is a lead platform. So I encourage each and every one of you here in person and also in Zoom to take advantage of this. And if you are not part of this yet, please, please, please reach out to me, send me an email, send me a text, call me, or go in my door and knock, and I will put you into this platform, okay? Now, these are warm leads, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Now, your job is to do what? Appointments, okay? So the awesome part of it is they're gonna give you a quick presentation of the new developments that, this platform under Realtors.com. So again, I encourage you, register now. Limited space is available, okay? Any questions?
Yeah, sorry, why haven't you put me in that?
You haven't asked.
asking.
I thought you were. Bob, no? Okay.
Never heard of it, okay.
See me after, and I will put you.
I'm
into
going to
this
see you
one.
now and we'll.
I can't right now. I can probably multitask and do it right now for you, Bob Alaka.
Don't do it.
Hey, so
There's no open down.
can I talk about OpCity for a minute? Which
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
is now Ready Connect.
Yeah.
So years ago, somebody asked me to take a look at OpCity because they were deciding whether to use it for the company. And my first thought was like, oh my God, this is garbage. I tried it out for a couple months. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But it was just a bunch of like mobile homes out in the middle of nowhere and some other stuff. And so I didn't make much of it. Years later, when I was a coach at Larchmont, PW Larchmont, Joey Sakovich's team leader was like, "Oh, you should really look at it. A lot of our agents are getting a lot out of it." So I said, "All right, I'll take a second look." And yeah, there's a way to game the system. Like you need to learn how. You can't just jump into. Hey, Luis, guys. Hey guys, you can't just jump into OpCity. There's some training videos that you have to watch first because they'll tell you. If you don't do it the right way, you'll get a bad score, and it's hard to come back from that, which is what happened to me without even knowing it. If you do it right, I had agents who were like in 2 months of production who had closed like 4 or 5 leases and an occasional sale, which may not seem a lot. When you're brand new, that's a huge deal. You're out there showing clients, you're working with lock boxes and contracts. I mean, all the real deal. And I've had many of those people that year, 6 months, a year later, the deal that they did with OpCity now came around and were purchasing homes, because a lot of these people are moving into town, they just want to find a rental. You help them with that. 6 months later, they're ready to buy something, and you're their agent of choice because you've been there for a while. And I mean, I had one gal who used OpCity a lot, did a lot of leases, and then she put like a semi-celebrity into a home, like a $6 million home a year later. I mean, that's a good year right there, right? So I encourage you all to check it out, and I'm a converted fan, which is why I say that.
That's
How
awesome.
do you get score for those? What do you mean you got score and then you lost it?
So as your OpCity gives you a bunch of leads, as you respond to them, they're tracking how quick you respond to their leads, how well you convert their leads. So you're developing a score whether you even realize it or not. In the administrative portal, you can see everybody's score. And the people who are on top of it and following up with them regular, all that, they get a better score. And you get a better score, you get better leads. And the better you do it. Now, we've had people close not frequently, but occasionally closing $1, $2, $3 million leads just from the ones they give you. So I mean, there's a lot of static in there, but there's some good stuff in there as well.
So if you get a low score, they won't give you any more?
Oh, they'll give you more. They'll give you more, but it's hard to come back once you have a low score.
I bet if we all that are interested went to that presentation on Friday, we'd learn a lot more.
There you go. Again, you want.
Oh, that's why you need to sit in the back.
No, Kara, no.
Bob's throwing me up a softball here. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Like I said, the point being, if you're gonna do this, learn how to do it right, because you don't want to start off wrong and then try to get it right later because you end up with a bad score. So if you come here, you'll learn how to do it right. Lauren, you have a question?
No, I tried it and I didn't follow the instructions, so I just stopped doing it. But yeah, when I was at the other company. And that's the other question, if I does it transfer over, or do I have to redo it?
No, you gotta see me first, and then we'll make that transition, because once I call this support, they're gonna identify that your license number has been transferred to this office, and then they can do the search.
Okay, so you'll do it, okay.
Yes, ma'am. So just to add to what Ed was saying, you start off with a 100 score. Okay, that's your scorecard. You want to maintain 100. The maximum that you can get is 120. So if you can maintain that, then it's good. If it dips, it's because you're not doing your follow-ups. Now, I caution you, if you really want to do this, okay, you got to be on top of it, because you can also become delinquent. And if you become delinquent, any leads that you are servicing right now, they're going to pull them out. And they're going to transfer those to another agent. So you have to update the system every 7 days. You know, what's the status with this buyer? Are you showing properties? It's a little tedious, but at the end of the day, you know, you do get an opportunity to close on a potential buyer. I'll give you another example. One of our agents got $1 million lead client from this. She got the lead, I believe it was a Thursday. She set the appointment because once you get that lead, you'll download the app, and then that app allows you to start getting, you know, calls. And if you're the winning bid, then the UpCity or Realtors.com representative will connect you with that buyer, and you'll be live on that call. And it'll go something like this. Hi, this is John with Realtors.com. I have Sandra on the call, and then they'll do an introduction. This is Simon with Keller Williams. He'll take it from here to help you navigate any and all questions and get you. And sometimes these buyers are already pre-qualified. They already have a lender. Most of them don't. Then that's your job to really ask those embedded questions to really get that appointment and then start the process of showing homes. So going back to the question was, the agent got a lead at $1 million or $1,100,000, all cash, by the way. This was a lead that came in on Thursday, and then set the appointment on Saturday. That Sunday, they went showing properties. That Monday, they submitted an offer. 25 days later, they closed at $950,000. Okay, now this is not an upfront cost, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so there is, you know, a percentage that does go to Realtors.com.
Right.
Instead of you paying on a monthly basis, they transition and said, look, we'll provide you with warm leads. And this is leads that are anyone that goes on Realtor.com and all these third-party sites that Realtor.com owns, and anyone that's looking at a property puts in their information, first name, last name, email, and contact information, and it depends on the area, it'll send it out. Okay, it's not just you, but multiple agents as well. And everything is the algorithms of the system. It's not like someone is there, I'm going to shoot it to Simon, I'm going to shoot it out to Cheyenne. Everything is systematic in the system itself. So it's similar to what you see in eBay, right? Have you ever purchased anything on eBay on the auction, and it'll say, you know, the price of the item, you have 2 hours and 52 seconds, 52 minutes to submit your offer. And what happens? We wait till the last minute, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then boom, submit your offer. And if you're lucky, you'll either get it as the winning offer, or unfortunately, you do not win it, right? Well, the system kind of works that way. But here's the pillar in the cherry on top. If you are the winning agent on this, then this is your client. Now your job is to start reporting to UpCity. It's a very cool platform, okay? But if you are not reporting, then we get notification that you're delinquent, and guess what? Your broker is going to reach out. Hey, what's going on? I see that you are delinquent with so-and-so client. What's the status? Please make sure to update it, because they can pull it as fast as you they want if you are not updating the system. Does that all make sense? Okay, so I encourage all of you, please jump on this Friday, the 28th, 1 o'clock to 2:30, to provide you with value information. And if you do want to be part of this, please check in with me.
Is that in person, Zoom, both?
I think, Nat, is this on Zoom or in person?
Zoom.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
All right,
Can I resend
awesome.
the email because I deleted it?
What's that?
Nat, can you resend the email because I deleted it?
It's on the calendar. Go to the
Oh,
KW
okay.
Hub.
Oh, that one I delete too? Yeah, we got
That's Bob.
it.
There's a reason why I'm sitting next to him.
That's why he needs to sit in the back.
Yeah, Ray, can you?
All right, let's go ahead and continue.
Please.
Take those.
All right, the next slide is our calendar, and I have Ann Morel, who's gonna touch a little bit on the calendar and the importance of, making sure, Bob, that you look at the calendar.
So, first of all, you guys all know let me just cover the basics. You guys all know where to find the calendar, right? We have kwsouthbayhub.com, right? kwsouthbayhub.com. So if you go there, there's a career development up at the top, and you go there and on the left-hand side, it'll say January calendar. You open it up. It shows you 1 week at a time. You scroll up or down to get the other weeks. Sometimes it's a little hard to understand at first. This is next week's calendar. It's a smorgasbord of stuff. I know if I were an agent, I'd be like, I don't have this is like War and Peace to me. Like, I got to get to work.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm here to be your Cliff's Notes. So let me tell you, if I were an agent, these are the things that I would be most interested in. Because we just kind of noticed there's a lot of stuff. So we're going to try to help you out from time to time, helping you kind of look at some bullet points, right? So first of all, a couple of things this week. I don't know if now, if you want to scroll back to this week, a couple of things to mention. Ignite is going on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. By the way, I don't know who is as stoked as I am when I walk by and I see like an actual Ignite class happening in person, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, Zoom, yay, whatever, pandemic, but like, there's something about learning in person. You can't, it's not the same. It's not even close. And it makes me so happy seeing agents, top producing, like Gary Nix, was it yesterday or something, teaching a class. And I'm like, man, to get to learn from someone like Gary or Lauren, who's going to be teaching some class, our ALC members who graciously give their time to, super cool. So I hope you guys take advantage of it. If you're in your first year, it should be a no-brainer. I'll be honest with you, I took Ignite 3 times in my first 2 years, and I got something out of it every time. It's not like it wasn't, I kept getting as much out the third time for sure. And if you've been around for a while, just drop into a class. It's so, if you're feeling a little off, just drop into Ignite class and be around a bunch of new agent stuff. It will just like pump you up, and you'll feel like it reminds you how much you know. And it also reminds you of some stuff that you might be, but you're not utilizing, right? So it's super cool. I hope you guys
So
take
even
it.
though you're not registered for the whole thing, you can just show up per class?
I don't think there's any problem, right? You just drop in. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I believe. Check the calendars. There might be some exceptions. Okay, Thursdays at 3, I teach a cool class called Working on Wealth. I've mentioned it a few times, but we're going through the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book. It's all about personal finance, building up wealth, not just making money, but like now that you start making money, how can you turn that into wealth, which we define as having enough passive income so that you don't have to work anymore if you don't want to. That's the end goal that we're trying to get towards. We talk all about that. We learn a lot. Okay, I'll move forward. Couple things. Okay, so this is next week, right? Natalie, can you go back to next week? We've got 2 cool things. If you didn't know about this, if you've been under a rock, every morning at 7 a.m. and every morning at 9 a.m., we have 2 awesome classes, or wait, 8 a.m. 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. We have 2 awesome classes to help you get your day going. We have Miracle Morning with Michelle Brown at 7 o'clock. That's like a little short, concise way, little affirmation, just give you a boost of positive energy in your life. 8 o'clock to 8:30 is a little more intense. That's Producer's Mindset. I know a lot of you guys attend this, so I'm speaking to the few of you who don't, but it's really powerful. I'm surprised when I'm on there, like just how cool the content is. Like, I mean, if you did that every morning, you would pick up on so many tips and tricks just from, first of all, there's like 40 or 50 people on the call, and a lot of the people who are sharing are top producing agents. It's not like a bunch of new people wondering how to log into KW. And it's like there's like really cool topics that go on there, and I always pick up a bunch. Some of you guys may not know this. Every 10 o'clock a.m., Scott Leroy teaches something about KW Command. So if you're like, man, I don't even know what to do with Command, I'm lost. Just go like once a week, pick out like one topic a week, jump on there. That's something really good that you can take advantage of. Next Tuesday at 1, we've got a title class with our title rep. That should be really good. Simon, I'm taking Tuesday afternoon. I'm taking that this is some sort of contracts class.
Yeah, so every Tuesday, 2 to 3, 1 hour session every week, I conduct a contract class, okay? If it's the RPA, the listing agreement, the addendums, the disclosures, I mean, there's over 375 different contracts just within Zip Forms. So take advantage, especially if you are new in the industry, right? Now the forms have changed dramatically last month. How many have you have seen the new RPA, right? It's pretty gnarly, right? It's pretty intense. Now it has 3 pages that have grids. So I encourage you to take full advantage of these classes. These are important. This is for your livelihood. Yes, sir.
The cover sheet did not change. So if you continue to
Yeah.
use the cover sheet, it actually fills up really well,
Yeah,
and it's easier to
you're absolutely 100%. Not too many agents use the cover sheet. If
Exactly.
you come to the class and you know how to play it smart,
Right.
then you use the cover sheet, fill out as much of the information, and then it fills out all your forms. And if you have to tweak something, you go to your cover sheet, tweak it, and it'll update every form. So you're absolutely, so thank you. Yep, we got an expert right here. Awesome.
I mean, that's every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Like, again, if you're in your first year real estate, that plus Ignite is something that I just wouldn't miss. I would go to every single one for your first year at least. And I don't know, even if you've been around a while, we just had a new RPA come out. I would still be going to contracts classes. I think that's you're always going to find that valuable. That's a good use of your time. And then the last thing I'll mention is, of course, you guys are here. We have the team meeting Wednesdays at noon, but just as a reminder, we switched it up as of this year. We're back to every week, right? So every week we're doing team meetings, as you guys see, in person and on Zoom. So, you know, that's the highlight of the week, and where we'll give you the most amount of information. But there you go. So there's a lot of stuff. I've given you like my kind of Cliff Notes version of what I would be attending. There you go.
Awesome.
Let's give them a round of applause.
So one, just to add to what Ed was saying, the producer's mindset, it's a 30-minute session. The awesome part is we have a guest speaker every Friday. This Friday, I have Wendy Soto, one of our agents, you know, and guest speaker coming in and talking to the group. So let's give Wendy the support from the South Bay office, and I encourage you to please jump in on that call. And then every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have one of our team leaders spearhead that 30-minute sessions. I have Wednesdays, and I might start rotating with Ed so we can bounce one and from the other. Holly has Mondays, Stephanie has Tuesdays, and then Thursday, Manny handles that producer's mindset. So you get to hear from all levels of leadership, their aspects and what they see and feel. This morning was my time, and we were just talking about systems and navigating, you know, the first quarter of the year. So I encourage you again to take full advantage of the stuff that we have here. This is for you. This is the resources that we have. So awesome. All right, so let's continue. I think we have is Neil. I think you're next. We're going to switch Elizabeth and go right into Neil real quick.
Oh, all right.
So you get that next, sir.
So
So we have Neil Bracewell with State Farm on upcoming changes to your homeowner's insurance. So take it away,
All
Neil.
right, hey, thanks for having me. So I couldn't help, has anybody in this room not seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross? Everybody's seen that movie, right?
What?
Coffee is for closers.
When you guys were Glengarry, Glen Ross, or when you guys were talking about the leads, I just kept picturing, these are the Glengarry leads, and you do not get them. So make sure that you follow up on that website, follow up with the customers, or you're not gonna get the Glengarry leads. And if you haven't seen that movie, you gotta see it.
Third place, you're fired.
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta also stress, there's a lot of bad words on it throughout the entire movie, so.
Yeah, I'm about to use some of them now in my speech. So, all right, so let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, home insurance. So with your buyers, there's there's a lot that has changed in California because of all the fires that we've had. These fires have really changed a lot, and everybody's home insurance has changed. So many of the home insurers have just quit writing in California altogether. And especially, as I've talked about before, the high value homes. So if you have a home that has a rebuild cost of 1.5 million or more, not a value of 1.5 million, but a rebuild cost of 1.5 million or more, a lot of insurers are not doing those anymore. State Farm still is. Another thing that has happened is they've added in discounts for home hardening. Now, I talked about home hardening once last time when I was here. But what home hardening is making your home harder to burn. So you have like a concrete roof. You've cleared all the shrubs around your house so that it's much less likely to burn. And there are discounts to be had for that. So there are a lot of new things that, don't expect you guys to know. My cards are here. I'm always available. What I always tell you guys is my only job is not to sell insurance to your referrals to me. My job is to make you look good. Because if you look good, then you refer me, then I look good. And if we both look good, then we have customers for life. And that's all I'm here for. If I don't sell your client, that's perfectly fine. If you call me on a Tuesday afternoon because you just have a question that has nothing to do with a client being referred to me, that's perfectly fine as well. So use me as a resource because that's what I'm here for. That is all the information I have. Does anybody have any burning questions on home insurance?
He has a sense of humor, guys.
No burning.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for having me, and we'll see you guys every week now. Every week.
Thanks so much. Yeah, awesome. And again, thank you so much for the lunch.
Absolutely.
You can never go wrong with Jersey Mike's. All right. All right. I also, next slide, please. I want to introduce Elizabeth Velasquez with Pacific Coast Title. She's going to be giving you some insights of the statement of information. Most of you probably don't even know what we're talking about, okay? Yeah, the old timers. Okay. So let's give a warm welcome to Elizabeth Velasquez.
Okay, for the camera, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
How's everybody? Oh, afternoon, yeah, well, I left when it was morning, I don't know.
You know, it's gonna be Sunday morning now.
Yeah. Hope everybody's doing well. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Simon for allowing us the opportunity to come in and speak for your group. Patrick was nice enough to ask me if I would come in and speak to you guys, and of course I accepted gladly. I've been in this business for 35 years. I'm the operations manager for Pacific Coast Title, Los Angeles County. Got into title, just kind of as a fluke. For those of you that are as old as I am, do you guys all remember the Broadway?
Yes.
The store, the Broadway?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was Macy's and now it's the Broadway, or it was the Broadway, now it's Macy's. So I worked at the Broadway. I worked my way through junior college and I worked at the Broadway. part-time and, one day it kind of got in my head that, I think I want to work full-time for a little while and buy a car. I was 20. So I spoke with a coworker of mine who happened to be in the shoe department, a gentleman that worked in the shoe department. I shared my story with him and said, I think I want to go into working full-time for a little while. And he said, oh, really? Well, this is just my part-time job. I have a full-time job at a title company. And I said, title company? What is that? It was title. So he suggested that I go and apply and gave me a name, a referral of a person, and to go and apply. It was at Tycor Title. I don't know if the original Tycor Title, which was in Rosemead. So Tycor Title, and I went and applied as an entry level, got hired, quit the Broadway, started working full-time at Title, and 35 years later, here I am. So I've gone through kind of every department within the title company, all the way through many, many years as a title officer. And now again, running the operations for Pacific Coast Title. We're based out of Glendale. We run all of LA County. We have an Orange County office, San Diego office. So thank you again, Simon, for allowing us the opportunity to be here today. So as I was emailing with Patrick over the last week about what to talk about today, everybody always does how to read a prelim. And that's important. It is important, but I think that's more, you need to leave that to us. Let us figure out how to read your prelim and tell you what the red flags are and what's important and what's not important. But as I thought about it, I thought, the one thing that comes up often, and I hope it has never happened to you guys, but I'm sure it has happened to at least somebody, is that you're at closing of your transaction and something happens and halts the transaction. The seller has a judgment, the seller has a lien, and we're finding out literally the day before you're supposed to close. Has anybody had that happen to them? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so 9 out of 10 times, the reason that happens.
If I didn't know that way.
Yeah, and most of the time they say it's not them.
Yeah, good.
But the reason that happens, 9 out of 10 times, the reason that happens is the lack of this document, okay? How many of you are familiar with what a statement of information is? Okay, how many of you are not? Okay. So this is really, really important. I'm glad that there's a show of hands, both that know about it and don't know about it. So part of the process of your transaction is, number one, obviously you guys get the listing or you have a buyer. You get the listing, you put it into escrow. The escrow company then opens the title order with the title company. Part of what we do after obviously the normal open order process to get it into the system is 2 types of searches, okay? The number one search, which creates your title report, is the property search. Property search will disclose property taxes, the owner, whoever the owner is, or also known as the vesting. If there's any issues with that, we also address that. Easements and CC&Rs, and then any liens or issues against the property, for example, mortgages, substandards, anything that's directly connected or tied to the property would be reported on that particular search as well. Then there's a part 2, and this is where the SI comes in. Part 2 is what we call a name search, okay? Anytime you guys have a transaction, let's say you're the listing agent, and even if you're the buyer agent, you should really get involved with it as well. You have a listing, the title company is going to do a name search of that individual, okay? The name search is done to report out child support liens, judgments, any type of judgment, creditors that are after you, IRS liens, franchise tax board liens, anything that is tied to the name, okay? So know that when title companies do a property search to provide your title report, we have not touched the name search yet. It's a separate thing. And the name search does not take place until the title officer receives the statement of information, okay? part of the process is 9 out of 10 times, the escrow company will gather the statement of information along with their documents that are being signed, the grant deed or the loan documents or whatever the case may be. They collect this. Once again, 9 out of 10 times, if not higher, they're doing this 2 or 3 days before the file is about to close. Okay, so is everybody starting to see the problem here? Okay, so this is where you come in. The statement of information is something that you guys should, in my opinion, incorporate as part of your listing agreement. When you sit with your client and you have them sign your listing agreement, you let them know, and we're gonna make sure that everybody gets a copy, an email copy of this form, so that you have it as part of your pitch. It takes 5 minutes. This is all, again, personal information that they all should know. They all should know their date of birth, their social security number, their first and last name, where they live, where they work. That's really all it is. It's a very simple form, but it's critical. And the reason it's so critical is if we don't get this into the title company, again, in a timely manner, then you're gonna end up like one of those people that raised their hand that had that last minute problem. Okay, so number one, my recommendation again to you guys is to include it as part of your package. Include it from the get-go. Don't leave it up to the escrow to get it to title. Take it in your own hands to get it filled out. Feel free to either send it to Patrick. Obviously, we're hoping we're doing the title order for you. Send it to Patrick. Patrick will get it to the hands of the title officer and we'll get you a response back. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I had a family that had 5 properties that I sold. They only have to fill that out once.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, just once
Because
is
I was
fine.
listing just the one time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, once is fine. So, so again, just really important for you guys to get that from the get-go. Don't leave it up to escrow. Feel free, don't be afraid to get involved with your transaction. Don't hand it over to somebody and just expect that it's all gonna get done. Make it part of your checklist. Make it part of your checklist, maybe 1 week into the escrow, to maybe send an email to escrow or send an email to your transaction coordinator to follow up on that and ask for this. There's a wording that you want to ask for. Has there been SI clearance? SI is abbreviation for statement of information, okay? Title companies and escrow companies refer to this as an SI. So if you guys want to ask, for status on that, say, hey, just checking on status of the SI clearance. If they tell you, or Patrick tells you, hey, my unit says they don't have an SI yet from escrow, then guess what? Jump in and either contact the escrow company, or if you collected it and you forgot to email it in, that would be a good time to do it. Again, this will save you guys a ton of work, a ton of headaches, any last minute problems. And I've gotten beat up a lot over the years over you title companies always come up with this stuff at the last minute. And if anybody reads, again, I'll do a class another day maybe on how to read a prelim. One of the requirements at the bottom of most of the last items on the title report is we require a statement of information from all parties. So it's on there from the get-go. Any experienced escrow officer should know that. So if you guys have a good team that knows that, then they should do all of that for you. But again, I recommend get involved. Don't leave it to somebody else. Don't hand it over and expect that it's going to happen. Because if it doesn't get done, then we have those last minute problems. Yes.
I didn't hear the part you said you check last minute, but since the document gets turned in, you start doing the search.
Yes.
It's just last minute, may something unexpected come up.
Correct. That's always a possibility. It's rare, but it's a possibility. Most of the time, the second we get this within, I want to say 8 hours to 16 hours, we've already done the search and we've already reported anything out or none at all. We'll issue what's called a supplement that says the SI has been cleared. There are no issues to report. That way you guys are like, okay, good, we're good. At least you don't have any lingering issues. Now, what are some of the problems that could arise? Let's say we do get an SI at the last minute and we pull a judgment. I mean, some of the problems that could arise is now we have to find out, do they still owe money on this judgment? The escrow company has to request a demand. As you guys know, especially right now with the pandemic going on, everybody's at skeleton crews. So sometimes to get a payoff demand from either a law firm or a creditor or anybody, sometimes takes a long time. And so now we're at a halt. The file is funded, the buyer's money is in, the title company is ready to close, and we can't close because now we have this outstanding issue. So we need those statement of information into the title company at the earliest possible time to avoid these last minute problems. We need time to order the demands. We need time to verify if in fact it's our party or it's not our party, or to report anything out, period. Yes,
Well, you talked about listings, but the same thing goes with buyers.
correct.
And then that's to refer to what Farah said, is that happened to me when I was buying a piece of property. And the day before we were to close, they let me know that my former husband had a judgment against him.
Oh, my
And they
goodness.
made me pay it.
Oh, no.
And so, we couldn't close on time because of that.
How long ago was that?
Oh, no, 30 years ago.
Oh, okay. So I'm glad you brought that up actually, because things have changed quite a bit. And nowadays we don't run buyers. So buyers, we do need the statement of information as part of the required, but we don't use it to run their name. We use it just to have their contact information in case post-closing, we need to get a hold of them for any reason. That's the only reason we get the SI, but we don't run buyers. But as an agent representing your buyer, you still have the right to get involved and say, hey, escrow, has the seller turned in their SI? Because you as a buyer, as an agent representing your buyer, you don't want to delay either. So it goes both ways. You can get involved either way. Number one, by helping facilitate getting the form filled out from the get-go and sending it in. Or two, just following up later on in the transaction to make sure that somebody did that, on behalf of the listing agent. So again, some of the delays that could potentially happen is, ordering the demand, that takes a while. And so again, sometimes we have to hold the transaction. And depending on who you're working with, will facilitate sometimes holding some of the proceeds while they request the demand in order to still be able to close, but that doesn't always happen. For example, IRS, if we're dealing with an IRS lien that just got reported, I don't like to hold money because IRS lien can take forever and a day. And the other thing is an IRS lien, it compounds so quickly the amount that you just never know how much to hold to make sure that everybody's protected in the event that the demand comes in for a lot higher amount than what you're holding. So does all that make sense for you? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was thinking, my head's going to a place, not a good place, but the SI on the buyer side, with
Yeah.
as much title fraud that's happening, because it's starting to happen more and more.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't they run the buyer? Because to me, that's the perfect way to get past it.
Yeah, we're
Sorry,
insuring,
it just happened to me, that's why.
no, we're insuring the purchase of the property. We're insuring it. We're doing an owner's insurance. So we're insuring free and clear title of the property to the owner.
Right.
And so if they have any liens or judgments that were from before, they were not on title yet. So that's why those things don't get reported. That make sense?
Yeah, but title fraud, I don't know, somebody could be saying there's somebody else.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
and the other thing is also, I didn't point out with the statement of information. Again, it's really basic information, first, middle name, last name, date of birth, social security number. Just food for thought. Sometimes we're dealing with a very, very common name. Okay, so we're dealing with a John Smith. We're dealing with a Juan Garcia. So we're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of potential items. And so as much information as we can get on the statement of information, the more filters we have, the easier it is to break it down and to be able to report out accurate information. So make sure you take a peek at it, include it, like I said, as part of your process, get them to fill it out, but take a good look at it, make sure. A lot of people, the social security is here And sometimes they don't see it and they'll put, you know, their driver's license number, but they'll forget the social. That's the main thing. The social is the most important thing, but again, make sure it's filled out as much as possible.
Just FYI, as a lender, you still want to have that thing filled out by your buyers, because we're gonna do on the back end, we're gonna do a fraud report. to
Right.
Process things, so we're gonna get all that information,
Right.
and sometimes we want, so if you've got that SI, it just helps us,
Yeah,
because they can have another property that they're assigned to, so
Right.
it'll pull their name in another property in another state.
well, and you brought up a good point too, as a lender, to answer by going back to your question, why don't we run them anymore? A lot of times that's part of the reason too, is we're assuming that the lender is already doing that too, which they are, which
For
they
the
are.
cash deal, those are the fraud deals with the cash deals.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Sue, I think you had a question, right? No? Okay.
Okay, so, does that all make sense so far?
Yes.
Does that help?
It was answered.
Does that help? Yeah, just, again, these are the little things that I think sometimes we all know the process, but we don't really know like the inside part of the process. And it's really critical, again, to avoid last minute delays, to give us time to be able to order demands, verify whether or not it's still outstanding. Oftentimes a judgment has been paid off and they filed within the court system a satisfaction, but they never record one. So a lot of times we as a title company can go into a database that we can search status of that particular case and see if there's a satisfaction. If there's satisfaction, then we move along. Another thing with judgments, this is kind of sidetracking a little bit from the SI, but also with judgments, not child support judgments, but creditor judgments. They're outstanding or valid for 10 years, okay? And the 10 years is from the enter date, not the date that it recorded, but on the judgment itself at the bottom on the left-hand side, it has an enter date. That's when it went into the court system that it officially became a judgment. So 10 years from that date, if nothing has transpired, the title company can ignore it without a satisfaction or without anything like that being done. So, so that's also good to know. A lot of times, sometimes somebody might report a judgment maybe on your title report. You can sound like you totally know what you're doing and ask, you know, hey, did anybody run the case exam on that? So maybe make note of that, you know, use that lingo. Has anybody run the case exam? And they might realize, oh yeah, we reported it out, but we haven't even checked the case exam. Let me check that. And then a lot of times we report judgments out and we end up deleting them because after taking a second look, we find that it was actually in fact satisfied. Okay, so does that all make sense so far?
Yep.
Okay, and I guess, again, the golden nugget or the takeaway that I would like for you guys to have is number one, obviously the importance of the SI and why. Number two, don't be afraid to be involved. Get involved. Don't put it in the hands of the escrow or the title company or whoever. Get involved and send that email, or if that little tiny 30 seconds that'll take you to send an email to follow up can save your deal or save any delays at the last minute. I mean, I've seen a lot of delays, but I've also seen files that couldn't close because of, you know, let's say it was a $250,000 judgment, you know, where there just wasn't enough money to close it. So you don't want that to happen. So, you know, it's really, really critical. Yes.
And just to add to that, I've seen judgments for $5, $10.
Right.
And that can alter the delay of process to close this deal, folks.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I know she used a 200,000, but imagine
A little
how
anything.
agitated you would be that there's a judgment that's delaying the process because of a small amount like that, credit card. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and for you, Simon, if it was a $5 judgment, I'd pay it. I would just pay it and move on. Don't worry. I got you guys. Yeah, so again, main takeaway is understand the process and be involved, you know, don't just, you know, kind of wait and see it's gonna close and we're good to go. Yay, it's closing tomorrow. Make sure that these things, you know, the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and this is a huge, huge part of that. Okay, yes.
Questions?
I understand the importance of gathering this information early in the process. You mentioned making it a part of the listing paperwork that you sign.
Correct.
Simon, as the broker of record, do you want us as agents to collect social security number, driver's license number, and have that document in our possession?
You know, that's a very good
That is a
question.
very good question.
That's a very good question. Personally, we definitely do not encourage none of our agents to get this information, you know, because this is
Personal.
personal
Yeah.
information.
Application.
Driver's license, especially social security, and that can be compromised. We don't want it to come back to us, right?
Yeah.
And now they put fingers on us because of this information that was compromised. And now someone has someone's social security. So to add to your point, 100%, I don't encourage this. But what I do encourage is being proactive.
Yes,
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Get
be
involved.
proactive and
Yeah.
start making those calls. As you stated, is, you know, have you got the statement of information, the SI,
Yeah,
and being proactive either with the escrow company and also with the title company.
Yeah.
And at least going in that direction,
yeah.
in my opinion, because again, this, you know, can definitely.
No, and I
involve-
agree with you. We do
I agree.
have, so that you know, we have high security in place in all of our servers, all of our, so everything is 100% covered, protected. Especially with all the fraud that, you know, you guys are talking about, all the stuff we see, you would be amazed at the stuff we see. Dead people trying to list a property, somebody who's on behalf of somebody who's dead. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, the stuff that happens is insane. So I don't blame you. I mean, you're right. I think that's a good point. That's a very, very good point.
But then how do you expect the seller to sign that, but don't give it to you? Is that?
Well, I think that's what Simon is saying, and I
So-
kind of agree. Maybe just follow up and make sure escrow does it.
Yeah.
Well, you already
Yeah.
have a relationship, right, with your client and also with escrow or even title, and let them be the filter. Don't put your hands onto this, right? This is not for us. This is not something that we do. This is between escrow, title, and the consumer. So,
But get involved
but get
and make sure
involved
it
in it
happens. Yeah.
and just be proactive.
Yeah.
Yes, Lauren.
Simon, same information is on an application when you have a renter is applying for a home. I get all that information and it's part of my package. So
Right.
now you're telling me that you couldn't do this with owners. I think it's about a trust thing.
Well, and it might be
You don't want
something
me
you
to
might
get
want to look
applications when I get
into
the
with your
lease.
legal.
When I get a lease, you don't want to be responsible.
I haven't looked at the application.
Yeah, they have-
it has
they have-
social
they
security.
have-
Don't you get a copy of the back in front of the license?
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same stuff, except for all the, yeah, it actually asks for credit card numbers and I tell them not to put that.
Well, and you can always bypass it a little bit by providing them the form and
Right.
telling them, make sure they send it into escrow.
Right.
That way, you kind of, again, you're
I
being.
get it, and I don't want the liability.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that, I get that
That's a way to-
100%.
That's a way to bypass the question.
I'd rather she be liable than me.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
She's got more insurance.
in the realm of all things, yeah, you know, I can see it from both ways too, yeah, but you're right, you know, the California forms
Well, so
does
much
have,
identity theft and
Oh,
so much,
and
I
that's-
don't blame you.
and that adds to, you know, the wire fraud, you know, because
Totally.
look at how many situations and incidents have happened where deposits or net proceeds go,
That happens
Go.
all the time.
yeah, all the time, and I mean, it's not small
Yeah.
amounts, it could be literally
Yes.
hundreds of thousands.
And then again, that takes us about how, as a fiduciary, we supposed to protect that information if we have it anyway.
Of course.
And Neil can get you some cybersecurity, I mean, there's insurance policies that you can put as protection. as
Yeah.
well.
I have that on my.
Yeah, and we all do, obviously, all title companies do, we're dealing with a lot of private information day in and day out, you know, so yeah, we absolutely have to.
And again, this is a form that we typically, as real estate professionals, we see, but we don't get involved in it, okay? So the more you can put yourself long distance from it, the better. And I get, you know, with the car forms, unfortunately, that's something that we get engaged and involved with. But, you know, any other pertinent forms, let the right sources, your escrow, your
Yeah.
title
Yeah,
companies.
redirect it, but just follow up and make sure that it gets to where it needs to get to. Again, the whole purpose is to avoid last minute
When
delays.
I wait for escrow, half the time my seller's saying, well, I want to wait and make sure it's going through before I get all this paperwork filled out.
Yeah.
That's always a comment.
Well, and that's
And that's
true.
why it's delayed.
And that's true, but that's where hopefully this little bit of training gives you the lingo, the language to be able to explain to them why.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, usually that's included on the opening package. If you follow up with that and making sure that your plans are completing that and getting it back
Right.
to us.
Like I said, we're gonna wait, and make sure it's
You'll be
going
better.
through.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And not only getting the statement of information in, but feel free again, like, if you want to write it down, to ask for SI clearance. Has there been SI clearance?
Write it down, folks.
Because a lot of times, I mean, you know, we get follow-up emails constantly all the time. Hey, we sent you guys the SI and we still don't know if it got cleared. You want to make sure that I want to make sure my inside staff is doing their job and that they're clearing the SI. So ask, has there been SI clearance?
Now, when do you issue the clearance? Close to the end?
No.
As soon as you get-
As soon as we get the SI, that same day it goes
So
into
once
a
you get the
department that
clearance,
clears
you're
it.
home free?
Yes and no. Yes, up until that date that we ran the clearance, but there could be a creditor that records something a week before you close and it shows up when we do what we call a date down. So at closing, you've got your title report that gets issued that's dated a certain date. At closing, we do what's called a date down. So we check for any new items that might have been recorded from that date to the closing date. And if anything pops up then of course, we're going to report it. That's beyond anybody's control. That's nothing anybody can do about it, you know. I'm just trying to do the part, explain about being proactive and getting involved ahead of time to avoid last minute delays. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Any
So-
additional questions?
I hope that helped a little bit. And if anybody has a particular subject, again, maybe how to read a prelim or anything else that you'd like me to elaborate more on, I'm happy to come back and with Simon's permission and invitation, hopefully. If in the meantime, if you guys need anything, Patrick is available 24/7. He's got my business cards with my direct phone number. Feel free to call me for anything, even if it's not our transaction and you're using some advice on maybe a transaction that you're dealing with right now that you're having some difficulties with. A word of advice, I'm happy to help. And thank you
Patrick,
again.
it's 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah, 24/7. I thought I was 24/7.
We all are, unfortunately. And I'll play-
Divert that number.
I just recorded that, must have been your fiance.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. Good information, you know, again, who would have ever thought about the SI? And it just gives you another perspective, another view in how to approach your business, being proactive, right? So I love, you know, bringing this to our attention because it's not something that we hear on a regular basis. We hear everything else, but we don't hear about the SI form. So it's really crucial and very important that you are on top of your game and making sure that your escrow and your title company is on top of their game as well. So with that being said, again, thank you, Patrick, and that concludes our team meeting. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, guys. I did it, yeah.
She ain't got no money, her clothes are kind of funny, her hair is kind of wild and free. Oh, what a love flows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me. She talks kind of lazy, and people say she's crazy, and her life's a mystery. Oh, but love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me. There's something about her head on her mind, it's a feeling that's fine, and I just gotta say, hey, she's really got a magic spell, and it's working so well, and I can't get away. I'm a lucky fella, and I just gotta tell her that me. Because love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows so like me. There's something about her head on her mind. It's a feeling that's fine, and I just gotta say, hey, she's really got a magic spell, and it's working so well that I can't get away. I'm a lucky fella, and I just gotta tell her that I love her every day.